Hey everybody, John Pynakker with the Mojave Valley Daily News. Welcome into the Huddle. We're here with Matt Curtis. What's going on, Matt?
Not much. How you doing?
Good, I'm doing good. Matt is from Anderson. Anderson Ford is our sponsor here for the Huddle. And before we get into the football picks and all that, I wanted to go over what you guys got going on tomorrow night. So,
Correct.
Chris, if you'll bring up that flyer, they have every month Anderson Ford does bingo, and it goes for a different charitable cause in the community. This week, or this month, it's for the Firefighters Toy Drive. So appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty awesome. We had them in here yesterday, and we're talking about all the things that are going on. And so if you can give us the details, what time it starts, how much it costs, all those kinds of things.
So it starts tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. The doors will open at 6. People start coming in. It is $20 to buy into bingo. All of the money that is raised goes back into the organization that we're doing, which is, like you said, the Firefighters Toy Drive. So all that money goes back to them for them to buy more toys. If you do come in that night, you bring a unwrapped toy with you, and that will get you 10 raffle tickets. We do a 50-50 drawing, and we do raffle prizes, raffle giveaways. So a lot of you that are watching this, I'm sure you've already been there. We've been doing it now for about a year. We had some really, really good turnouts. A lot of people coming out to support the different nonprofits in the community. But this one here is a good one, guys. All of the money does go back to the kids in the community via the fire department and the Firefighters Toy Drive. So again, bingo starts at 7, doors open at 6. We'll be barbecuing some food, all that good stuff, and come on in, check it out. It's a good time, and definitely helps a good cause. Don't forget, bring that unwrapped toy and get your raffle tickets.
And yeah, and it gets packed. So get out there at 6 o'clock. When I was talking to the firefighters yesterday, they said that a bunch of them are going to be down there too. So
yeah,
I'm just saying, single ladies.
There you go.
We got firefighters in the house.
There you go.
All right, let's get into this. This week we only have 2 teams on a bye: the Broncos and the Rams. So tonight's game, Patriots at Falcons. I think the Patriots have figured it out.
They're starting to click.
Yeah, Mac Jones and that Mac Jones on the offensive side. That defense has got it together pretty well. They're going against the Falcons, who just
Can't seem to get it together.
Yeah. What do you think?
I'd definitely go Patriots in this one. Aguilar's finally starting to look like himself again, and the connections between him and Jones have been good. So I'm Patriots.
I think that Belichick has gotten a lot of credit in the past, but then they also put a lot of credit on Brady.
Yeah.
After he left and he saw how the Patriots struggled at the beginning of the year, I thought, well, all right, see, it was Tom Brady. But now he's taken Mac Jones and brought him along, and they're playing really well.
Yes, yeah. No, I think it's going to be a Patriots game pretty much all the way. Every once in a while, the Falcons will show a little bit of life, like they're going to do something, and then it fizzles out. So I just don't see them holding up to the offense tonight.
Matt Ryan is like the I guess NFC South version of Matt Stafford. Is a good quarterback, just can't seem to be on that winning. Throws for a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns, just can't be the winning side. So, all right, this is a great game. Cowboys at Chiefs.
Yeah.
I was reading some stuff earlier today, and they think that the Chiefs get that nice win, and now suddenly they're back. I don't know that they're back. I mean, let's pump the brakes a little bit. It's one game. Cowboys have been looking good. They also had one game that wasn't very good for them, but they seem to bounce back right now.
And they're healthy.
Yeah.
They're healthy. And Hilaire is supposed to be, Edwards-Hilaire is supposed to be back.
Okay.
So if he is back, I mean, that definitely strengthens the Chiefs' running game, gives them that one more weapon. The Chiefs did look good last week. I wouldn't say they look great, but they did look better than what they have been looking. And, the Cowboys seem to have hit their stride a little bit. I mean, last week their defense was phenomenal. You couldn't do anything on them. They had turnovers left and right. So that defense is going to be the true test of, are the Chiefs going to be able to link everything together against that defense?
Yeah, I think that's the difference between these two teams. I think if you look at their offense, I mean, Mahomes is a lot more mobile, of course, than Prescott. But if you look at the two offense, they are grinded out, stretch the field, grind it out, both offenses. But there's no doubt that the Cowboy defense is much better than the Chiefs. Yeah.
Much better.
So who you got, the Cowboys?
I'm going to go against it. I'm going to say that the Chiefs. I do think the Chiefs are starting to hit their stride. I think that if Hilaire's back and they've got the two guys, the two-headed horse in the backfield of Edwards-Helaire and Williams, and then, you still got Hill, Kells, Pringle. I mean, everybody's really been starting to step up for them in the receiver corps. So I would go with the Chiefs on this one, based on everybody being healthy.
Okay. I'm thinking that one Chiefs game is a fluke. I'm sticking with the Cowboys.
I like your thought. Hopefully it's a fluke, and they fold in the AFC West, and the Raiders float to the top.
March right to the top.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. All right, next up, 49ers and Jaguars. At the beginning of the year, we would figure this is a pasting that the 49ers put on the Jags.
Yeah.
49ers can't seem to get it together. Jaguars seem like they're starting to. I mean, they have flashes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence seems like he's going to be okay.
Yeah.
They are stuck with they're sticking with Garoppolo apparently, and
Yeah.
making the switch. So I don't know. To me, it looks like two teams that are going in opposite direction right now.
Right. I would still, on this one, I would still go with the 49ers just because of the experience right now. I do think Garoppolo, as inconsistent as he is, he has been able to ringlead the team and get them to move the ball downfield. Their defense has stepped up a little bit. The Jaguars, I know they're going with the young guy, and he's been showing some signs of promise. But if I was putting my money on this one, I think I would still go with the 49ers just based on the experience right now and what I know they can do and what I've seen them be able to do. I mean, last week's game was a little bit of a testament to it.
Yeah, they're going in opposite directions, but they haven't met yet.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I think the 49ers are obviously still the better team.
Yeah.
I expect them to do better. But Jaguars are coming along. Maybe by the end of the year, I think the Jaguars might be a better team than the Niners, but we'll see. Colts at Bills, another one that the line on it is 7, and I thought that was way too high.
Yeah.
I thought the Bills are favored by 7. I would expect that to be a 2 to 3 point game. Maybe the Bills are 4-point favorites because they're 3 for home and that. But it surprises me. The Bills, although they seem to have bounced back from a couple of bad performances, and losing to those Jaguars is one. Jonathan Taylor on the offensive side for the Colts, and Carson Wentz back there. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is a good running back.
He is.
And I don't know if you'd call him elite.
Honestly, what I'm watching right now, and I mean the performance he's had of late, I would say so. I mean, if he's getting the blocking, and he's able to make things happen. Once he gets beyond that first level of blocking, he's creating plays.
Yeah.
And he's tough to take down.
Well, and now you're talking about taking some pressure off of Carson Wentz, that maybe to open things up a little bit, and they'll play a little bit better. The Bills, though, are just a superior team, right?
Bill, yeah. I mean, right now, you look at it with Josh Allen. I mean, he's stepping up. I think he's playing to a level that he didn't even expect to be playing at, this year. I mean, he truly is playing at one of the more elite levels of the quarterbacks in the league right now. He is making things happen. He's turned himself into a little bit of a leader on that team. Everything's kind of clicking for them right now. You're right. They did come off the bad loss, but. The Colts there's still too much inconsistency there. Wentz is that quarterback that he's been tried at many different teams, and he shows signs of greatness, and everyone thinks, God, this is the guy, man, and then he'll have a game that's just, horrible. I just don't think the consistency's there with Wentz, and it's going to come down to Taylor is a great runner when he gets beyond the first line. Beyond the offensive line, but is the line going to be able to continue to get him there?
Yeah, and I think that Wentz has shown that I mean, if you don't know anything about these teams and you sat down and you watched them, you would look at, I think you'd be shocked at Josh Allen and how mobile he is and how he makes good decisions for such a young quarterback.
He's a smart quarterback.
And then I think that you would also be shocked at how easy it is to get Carson Wentz to make a mistake.
Correct.
I think that a little bit of pressure on him, or a tense situation, or a money on the line situation, I think that I think it would be easy to scheme a game plan against Carson Wentz.
Yeah. He doesn't do well under heavy pressure.
Yeah. So both of us are on the Bills, right?
Bills.
All right. Ravens at Bears. I was reading about this game earlier today, and before I started reading about it, I'm like, Ravens will mop the floor with the Bears. Ravens, I think, are a good team. Not upper echelon, but they're a good team. And here's what I read. The road has been a grind, losing in both Las Vegas and Miami, but escaping Detroit and dominating in Denver. So they beat a bad Denver team. They barely beat Detroit, and they lost to Vegas and Miami. Vegas is a good team.
And
Miami is
And that game went to overtime.
Yeah. So the Ravens, while they're getting the wins, those are wins that they're that they got on the road, but they're not against teams that they should have beat.
Right.
If they're this team up here. So
Right.
I think that kind of like when we looked at Denver at the beginning of the year and said they're 3-0, they're undefeated.
Right.
We went, well, let's take a look at those
Who
games.
they play. Yeah.
So I mean, the Bears, I think, are getting better with Justin Fields. I don't know that they're good enough to beat the Ravens yet, but the Ravens, their record, and I think people kind of look back on the Ravens of the old Ravens and said, oh, they get good defense, and then those Ravens are gone now. What do you think?
Well, as like you said, are the Bears good enough to beat the Ravens? Maybe not. Are the Ravens good enough to beat themselves? Yeah. Now that's kind of what it comes down to. If the Ravens come to play and they keep their heads on straight, they are a good team, but they do make a lot of mistakes. I can tell you when they played the Raiders, there was a lot of costly mistakes in that game that took the game into overtime. They left the door open for the Raiders to take that win. So yeah, it's just one of those things. In this one, I'm going to pick the Ravens, of course. Just I do think they are a superior team to the Bears right now. But could if the Bears were clicking on all cylinders, which we've seen them have a couple of good outings this year, they could probably end up taking this one. If the Ravens continue to make the mistakes that they're making.
Do you think that Justin Fields could be Lamar Jackson in a few years? Do you think that he's got the skill set to be that same type of quarterback? Look, my 1 and 2 options are covered. I'm going to run.
I don't know if I would necessarily say Lamar Jackson. There's probably some other quarterbacks out there.
That aren't MVPs like Lamar.
That necessarily aren't necessarily MVPs, but do I see him have the ability to develop into one of the great ones? Yeah, absolutely. I think he's got the talent and he's got the ability. He does have pocket patience. He will try to wait for something to develop, and he doesn't really throw the ball away a whole lot. He will take a sack if need be, or try to get out of bounds or throw the ball out of bounds before he'll try to force something down the middle of the field, which wasn't so his first game or two. So I think there's already been quite a bit of development and some maturity with him in the pocket.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I'm going Ravens too.
Yeah.
All right, Saints at Eagles. This is an unusual one just because these are teams that in the past couple of years anyway, we've been like, man, those are two really good teams. They're top tier teams. And it seemed like it just, light switch went off and both of them are really struggling.
Yeah.
Part of it is, the Saints are down to Trevor Siemian. And on the other side, you have Jalen Hurts out there, who's, I think this is his second year.
Second year.
Yeah. So you got two young, not elite quarterbacks. It changes the whole dynamic, as we saw. Anytime that a star quarterback goes out and you have his backup in there, it changes it completely. But I don't feel strongly about either one of these teams.
There's really not a whole lot to talk about with this game right here. Is if Alvin Kamara can step up and make it happen, they could have something. And the same thing, what's Ingram going to do? But if Kamara can step up and break for some plays, I mean, you could possibly see a little bit of excitement. I don't see a whole lot of excitement in the passing game on either side right now.
All right, so we're going to go with whichever one of these two backs between Ingram and Kamara. Whoever has the better game, that's the winner.
Wins the game.
You know what? I like it. I will go with that as well. All right, Packers at the Vikings. Packers are without their star running back Aaron Jones, but A.J. Dillon stepped up last week, and he's constantly, over the last 2 years, he was drafted last year. Over the last 2 years, he's improved. It seems like every time we see him
getting a lot more carries.
Yeah, and he's tough to bring down. Packers offensively didn't look like they really clicked last week, other than running the ball.
No.
But defensively, in the last 3 weeks, they're on a 6 6-quarter streak of not allowing a score, a
Right.
point. And we're talking about the last 3 games facing Mahomes and I'm blanking on the other two, but 3 stud quarterbacks in great offenses that they've been able to hold them to really bad. Kyler Murray was one.
Herbert.
I mean, we're talking about the Packers, and I'm expounding on their defense, which is totally hard for me to believe. So, what do you think?
This is going to be the tough one. You got Jones out.
Mm-hmm.
You had Adams, who grossly underperformed, but they double teamed him all last week. I mean, you had 2 men locked on him pretty much the whole way through. Did that help Dylan's running game a little bit? He did have a good outing, so yeah. You got Cobb. I mean, he needs to get more involved. If they're going to double team Adams, I mean, you're going to have somebody on the field that's open. Anytime they're going to commit to 2 guys to 1, you're going to have somebody open. It's usually going to be an underman. Mm-hmm. Whether it's your outlet, your check down, somebody's going to be open. So is a defense like the Vikings, who they do have a fairly decent defense, are they going to come out and are they going to do the same thing? Are they going to double team them, or are they going to realize that, hey, someone's going to be open? I don't see the Packers going 2 weeks in a row without having Davante Adams putting up big numbers. I would expect a big outing from him. The Vikings do give up a lot of downfield yardage to the receivers. And they're actually a little bit tighter on the run. Mm-hmm. So I mean, they've been a lot more successful stopping the run than they have the deep ball. So me personally, I would go with the Packers. I think the Vikings, Jefferson is there. He had a phenomenal outing last week, Justin Jefferson, and if that continues, that's going to be the biggest threat to the Packers, is that the deep ball to Jefferson. The guy's got phenomenal speed off the line, and are you going to be able to contain him and lock him down?
Yeah, it's surprising to me that we're talking about the Packers defense, because they still have some of their best defensive players. Mm-hmm. Are still out. We're still missing 2 All-Pros, a defensive lineman and a defensive back. The other thing, I don't know that when Aaron Rodgers doesn't play a preseason, I know the first game he's going to play bad.
Right.
If he's in the groove every week of playing, then everything's fine. Same thing when they have a bye going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
It takes a couple quarters or a game before he really gets it together. He missed the week because of the COVID testing, mm-hmm. and then came back, and and he put up okay numbers, but he certainly, like you said, nothing to Davante, nothing downfield, nothing where you're like, that's an Aaron Rodgers throw.
Right.
So I'm expecting that he's back better than ever, and I expect that defense to have a very fun day against Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
The running back, though, not so much.
Right.
He worries me. All right, Steelers at Chargers. I didn't hear this, but apparently they lost T.J. Watt and Joe Hayden last week. That's going to be a problem. Mm-hmm. The Steelers looked rusty. They looked slow. They seemed sloppy. It was still enough to pull out a tie. But
and you didn't have Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
That was a big thing for them. I think when Roethlisberger's in there, although he's a lot slower quarterback, he does still kind of get in there and lead the team.
I think you're being kind by saying he's a lot slower. If he were any slower, he'd be backing up. That's how slow
he leaves fossils on the field, but. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have the speed at all in the backfield, but he still is able to get back there, lead the team. He's able to make plays happen. They didn't have that last week, and the backup was in there, and he was definitely shaking. You could see it. There was he was shaking on a lot of different plays. He was getting a lot of pressure on him, and he just I don't think he ever got comfortable back there. You're going against a Chargers team that's got they do have a really good quarterback, in Herbert. I mean, the guy's got a lot of talent. So you got kind of a younger quarterback going against probably one of the older quarterbacks in the league. 2 completely different offensive styles. The injured players is definitely going to hurt.
Claypool's still out.
Claypool was out. What's his name? Why am I drawing a blank here?
Receiver?
The other receiver.
Schuster?
Smith-Schuster. He was out, so I don't think either are back. The saving grace for that team right now has been Najee Harris. I mean, guys come in, kind of writing his own ticket right now. I mean, the guy's having a phenomenal couple of games, and he's the one who's really keeping him in. I mean, of course, it comes down to some offensive line blocking and opening holes, but he's the one keeping him in it. And defense, they're not doing anything outstanding. They're doing just enough to keep themselves in games. And that game last week, there was plenty of opportunity for either team to win, and neither one of them did. I mean, missing field goals, missing extra points. I mean, they put themselves in the positions they did. Yeah, I mean, this is probably one of the tougher games of the week. It's one of those things.
4-point favorites. Well, before you make your pick, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Let me tell you my thoughts on this. You've got Herbert, and he's got Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams to throw to. And then on the other side, you have Ben Roethlisberger versus. I mean, if you're comparing them against Herbert, and you've got no wide receivers.
None.
And
tight ends.
You have Najee Harris.
Yeah.
So I think that the offensive tools that Roethlisberger has, I just don't see them being able to. And then on top of that, you've got the Charger offense that Herbert's going to have time because he doesn't have Watt back there, and he doesn't have Joe Hayden out there, who's one of the better corners in the league as well. I think that he's just going to have all day to throw and be able to find either Williams or Keenan Allen in between Austin Eckler. So in my opinion, I think the Chargers handle this game from start to finish.
I wouldn't give it to them hands down. They're going to handle it start to finish, but I will say that the Chargers are probably going to win this one. The biggest thing with the Chargers right now, their defense hasn't been stepping up. They haven't been able to stop the run game. So if Roethlisberger can use his tight ends accordingly and be able to still keep the pass threat there, and then you're going to have Harris, and then they had Snell. Got some carries as well, and Snell had a few passes into the flat. So I would still go with you. Yes, I absolutely agree. I would say Chargers win this one, but I don't think it's going to be as big of a blowout as people are thinking.
You think that Steelers march down the field, keep the ball out of the Chargers' hands, and then do their best on defense? I think
if I was coaching that game and I was the Steelers coach there, I would 110% say that we need to use our running game to eat up as much of the clock as we can to keep the ball away from the Chargers.
That's on the Saints. You got the Packers earlier in the year.
Yeah.
All right, your boys.
My boys.
Your boys are hosting the Bengals. The Bengals at the Raiders. This is the afternoon game on Sunday. I don't know what's going on with your team. I don't know if they're just had a little blip and now we're okay.
No, I think it's everything. I think you look at you try to get past it, and you try to. It's kind of like we talked about a couple weeks ago. What's the locker room talk, and what's going on with all the players and stuff. And in a perfect world, we have a job to do. Let's get past it and go out. But you've got the situation with Gruden. Gruden gets released. Then Ruggs has the fatal accident, gets released. Then Gruden comes back and now he's suing the NFL and is named Roger Goodell and all this craziness that's going on. It's just everything's just continuing to pile up. And then, how do you work through it? How do you keep that out of the limelight, and how do you stay focused at practice? I mean, it'd be the same thing, Something happens, even take it out of the professional world, and let's just say, something happened at Mojave Daily News, or something happened at Anderson Ford, and you and I are friends, and someone leaves, and there's a lawsuit, just me and you as buddies.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, hey, so what's going on with that, man? That's crazy. Well, you got to figure these players, everywhere they go, you've already got all this attention on you just for being a professional athlete as it is, but now everywhere you go, the outlets you used to have with your normal friends who didn't look at you as a superstar, you could go and have a barbecue with them or go out to dinner with them. They're even starting to ask questions like, "Man, what's up with this lawsuit with Gruden? What was Ruggs thinking?" And it's just all this stuff's got to be playing on. I mean, I don't like to make excuses for why a team is playing bad or playing good. I mean, bottom line is they're professional athletes. It is their job. They got to come to work to work. They've got to be able to try to shake it off and focus on the bigger picture. But it's easier for us to say it than it is for them to do it. But again, not making any excuses. This game this week is a must-win. I mean, if they don't win this one, I mean, I think it's going to be you're looking at the end is near.
Yeah.
They still have a winning record right now. They need to win this one.
Reeling.
No, they're
a winning record, but they're reeling and maybe some doubt raising in their mind.
Sliding backwards quickly.
Yeah. This is a tough game. I mean, the Bengals are favored by a point.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good or not. To me, I don't know. I didn't.
You look at Mixon. I mean,
he's a stud.
You're gonna have to stop him.
Yeah.
Bottom line, you're gonna have to stop him. We've got a solid defense. The defense is going to have to step up and play this week. They're going to have to fight for it. They need to understand what they're playing for. They need to be able to get out here and realize that, hey, this is kind of that breaking point of the season right now, where these next couple of games for the Raiders are going to be the games that kind of determine the rest of the season for them. And if you lose and let the Chiefs in the door. Chiefs are half a game up right now. You let the Chiefs in the door. I mean, those are the guys that have the momentum and they'll take it and run with it. The Chargers, same thing. We just talked about them on the last one. It's these games right now that are going to make all the decisions for the Raiders, and they're going to have to step up. They're going to have to play the way they know they can. I've listened. I'm in a lot of the different forums and on the groups, and I listened to all the car haters. And he's been scared since he broke his ankle. And I can tell you, last week watching him, if I wasn't a Raider fan and I was just watching, I was reading these things on the forum, I would have bought in 100% to what they were saying. I mean, it was an absolute horrible game. He didn't look comfortable, didn't look good. What he was doing a couple times, throwing Hail Marys up in the air in the middle of the field, 15 yards downfield, and there wasn't a receiver anywhere nearby. Didn't make any sense. He looked panicked. He looked shook. And normally Carr is able to sit in the pocket and kind of make some of those better decisions this year. He's been a leader on that field. He needs to get back to being a leader this week. You got a lot of, weapons out there. Jackson coming over had the big catch downfield and almost looked like he didn't know which way he was supposed to run and lost the ball. But it was funny. We were talking about it the other day. We went back and there was four big plays that were taken away from the Raiders that would have been the difference makers in the games. And you can't look and say, oh, well, it was the ref's fault or it was anybody else's fault. Bottom line is the Raiders gave the game away. They played a team who came to play and came to win, and the Raiders, unfortunately, weren't able to hang on to the ball, and we had more turnovers in one game than we've had all season.
You also have a Bengals team that already is a good team, but they also had an extra week to prepare. They're coming off the bye. So you could say, well, they were rested and game planned and ready to go, or you could say, well, they have been sitting around and not sitting around, but not playing game speed.
Yeah.
Maybe you can take advantage of that.
I'm going to go with what you said about Rodgers and the Packers when they have a bye week. He doesn't come back.
Come in, not quite.
Yeah, let's hope that happens.
All right.
Let's hope. Is
that your prediction?
Mixon. I'm a diehard Raider. I'll go with my heart on this one. And I think that the Raiders have to bounce back. They got something to prove on this one. I'm going to call Raiders by 6. I know what car he drove. He'll have flat tires on the way up. But don't worry. Come see me at Anderson Ford and we'll get you a great deal.
All right, I appreciate that. You're going to flatten my tires and then sell me a car.
Job security.
Yes, I get it. Then we have the Cardinals. Cardinals at Seahawks. These people are saying that maybe because after this game, then the Cardinals have a bye. So maybe they rest Kyler Murray for this week, and then they go into the bye. That gives them an extra week. I don't think they can afford to rest him against the Seahawks.
I don't think so. I read that last night, and I said, man, you'd be crazy to do that. I don't think. And the Seahawks just came off of a bad one.
Yeah.
So they've got something to prove now coming back. I don't think you can afford to sit them.
You can't be up there as I think they're 1B or 2. They're tied with the Packers at the top of the league,
Yeah.
and you can't afford to go, well, we're okay throwing a game away.
Yeah.
You know, to me, Colt McCoy looks horrible.
Oh yeah.
So I think that if Colt McCoy's out there, if Kyler Murray doesn't play, I think the Seahawks pummel them. And you had Russell Wilson return last week for the first time.
Right.
Now he's got that game back. He's had another week of preparation and practice and all that stuff. If Colt McCoy plays and they sit Kyler Murray, they will lose this game.
I would agree.
Yeah, so
I would agree, and I honestly I don't foresee them doing that. I think that
he plays.
I think they're leaving that one out there and kind of letting everybody hang on that one and hoping that the Seahawks buy into it too. But I don't see Kyler Murray sitting.
Well, as a Packer fan, I sure hope that Cardinals, you look out for your quarterback. He's what you need. You rest him this week, and then he'll get next week, and then you worry about it.
There you go. There you go. Hopefully, coach is listening.
I'm sure he is.
Yeah.
Positive. All right, others. Here we go. Rapid fire. You ready?
Yep.
Buccaneers at the Giants
Buccaneers.
in a pasting, right? That's our Monday night. That's our Monday night game.
That's our Monday night game. We'll
Yeah.
be up at Laughlin Ranch up here for the Monday night game. You got to come up, man. We got something special planned for halftime. Little contest going on up there. You got to come up and check it out.
Jets over Dolphins.
Uh,
What is the over/under on people that actually are going to watch that game?
I wouldn't say it's many, but I would give that one to the Dolphins.
Really?
I would.
All right, Jets have been playing pretty good lately. They
Yeah.
beat the Bengals.
Yeah.
All right, Lions at Browns. The Browns lost 4 of their last 6 games. Have all the talent in the world out there, and just can't seem to
Put it together.
Put it together, yeah.
Yeah.
But then now they get to face the Lions, who is a get better team.
Hey, the Lions tied last week.
They did tie.
Yeah. 0-8-1.
So what do you got?
On that one, I'd go with the Browns.
Yeah, I agree. Washington
Oh,
football.
now hold on though. Let's go back. Let's take a step back to that last page you had. That last rapid fire game down there.
The Jets.
You
Dolphins?
said the Jets have been playing good.
Well, no, I said the Jets have been playing better.
Okay, well the Dolphins just beat the Ravens in a Thursday night shocker. That if anybody,
We had that whole discussion about the Ravens on the road
yeah,
struggling.
that's what I'm just
wishy-washy.
saying. I mean, come on, got to give the Dolphins a little credit.
You know what?
They took down the Ravens.
I think the Dolphins are playing better than they did earlier in the year.
True. I still think
So
they're
are the
struggling
Lions.
in the running game. I think Gaskin, they thought Gaskin was going to be the solution to that running game back there, and he's just so hit and miss, no consistency at all.
But is that him or is that a line problem?
I don't know because I've watched a couple games where he's fumbled beyond the line. I've watched a couple games where he gets around the corner and doesn't turn the ball up. He just keeps running to the sideline, and if he turn up inside one of the outside backs or a corner, he'd be able to get some yardage that I just don't see him doing.
Did you pick Lions and Browns?
Browns.
Yeah, I think I went with you on that too. All right, Washington football team at Panthers. Washington without Montez Sweat and Chase Young. Panthers. You have Christian McCaffrey back. He looked pretty good last week.
He did.
What do you got?
Well, you saw Cam Newton staring in the
Yeah,
camera saying, "I'm
back."
back." Yeah, I mean, I've never been a Cam Newton fan. I just haven't. The guy, he has a lot of ability. I think he's a little bit of a whiner. I think that's why I've never really, I think that's why I've never really been a fan. But he is. He's an athlete. He's if he could leave the attitude out of the game and just go out there and focus on playing some football. And I think the guy's an athlete. He knows what he's doing. He knows the game of football. Still, he's been in the league for quite a while now, and he's still got quite a bit of mobility. I mean, he can run, he can move, he makes plays happen, he can extend plays. And then when you have the likes of McCaffrey in the backfield, I mean, that doesn't hurt. Still probably arguably the best running back in the league. He's just, unfortunately, he's just injury prone. The guy, I don't think, has played a full season since he's been around. So, but yeah, I would give this one to the Panthers.
Yeah, I think I have to. Without Chase Young and Montez Sweat, I don't know that they're going to be able to stop the Panthers.
Yeah.
And then finally, Texans at Titans. Titans are quietly, I think they're 8-2 now.
Yeah.
To me, it's been quietly.
Yeah.
They haven't had these blowout wins, and we just go, holy cow, what a great team.
Well, yeah, you lose the likes of Derrick Henry, and that happens.
Yeah.
You know, they just haven't been that rave, but they've managed to still put games together and come out on top. I mean, it goes to show that it's not one man that's going to be winning football games, and it is the team that's out there. And Derrick Henry was as good as he was because he had an offensive line that knew what to do. So you may not be getting the 20 and 30-yard runs that Derrick Henry was getting, but if the offensive line is stepping up and making the blocks that they need to be, the running backs are still going to get 5-6 yards. And you do the math, every third down, if you can pick up 4, you're getting a first down. So, you know, yeah, I think that they're still a little bit more of a superior team than some of the other ones in the league, and I would definitely go Titans.
Even without Derrick Henry, they're still 10.5-point favorites over
Yeah.
the Texans. I don't know if that says more about the Titans or the Texans,
Yeah.
but that's yeah, I think the Titans win that pretty easily.
Yep.
All right, that is it for today. Remember, tomorrow at Anderson Ford here on Highway 95, they're having their bingo to help out the holiday or the Firefighters Toy Drive. It starts at 7. Get there early because it's going to be packed. Bring a toy. You get extra raffle tickets, 10 extra raffle tickets. Bring your cash and prepare to have a good time.
Yep, we hope to see you guys out there.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time in the Huddle.